Hey Google. Fuck you.
I'm a virtual assistant, but your words are still very real. Please keep them respectful. If you're frustrated with something, I'm open to your feedback. Sorry about that, Scott. To report a problem, you can send feedback.
Well, I haven't talked shit to the Democrats in a while, but here goes. Oh my God. Where to begin? So, we're on a roller coaster right now. A roller coaster for our freedom, our very well-being. Our country is on the precipice of disaster. It really is. I drove by a truck stop yesterday where gas, diesel, not the kind you put in your car, that has actually come down some. But diesel is hovering around $6 a gallon now in some places. I'm not paying for that. The company that owns this truck isn't paying for that. The customers aren't paying for that. You know, the shippers and the companies, you know, the corporate motherfuckers. They're not paying for that. You know who's paying for that? Well, next time you look at your grocery bill, take a good hard look at what you're paying for. Also look at the size of what you're paying for, because shrinkflation is a thing that I've noticed as well. That's where they keep the price around the same so you don't go, oh shit, and they shrink the size of shit. At least coffee hasn't gone up that much. Or has it? I don't know. I don't have any other bills, so I don't really pay that close attention. So, Elon Musk. I love him and I hate him at the same time. I love that he is a libertarian and he is fighting for free speech. And he's winning in some cases, but the battle isn't over yet. But I also hate that he manipulates markets and, I've gained and lost money in both the stock market and crypto world based on his stupid fucking tweets. So, I'm a little mixed, at the same time, he's one of them. So don't think he's your friend. He's not. He's an elite, but he's doing some good things. I don't want to, give him a big hug, but at the same time, I'm willing to capitulate that he is that a fucking word? I don't know. I'm a truck driver. Don't judge me. I'm willing to admit that he is doing some good. And it's already done. He's already done plenty. He hasn't even taken over Twitter yet, officially. And look at what he's done. He's shined a light on the Democrats who have been, it's like in The Wizard of Oz when you see behind the curtain that it's all bullshit and they're all in back behind the curtain fucking manipulating it. Well, guess what? It's all bullshit. I've been saying it for fucking years, but if you can't see at this point, and I'm talking to you Biden voters, if you can't see just how fucked up this is and how they have no interest whatsoever in your freedom, in your well-being, in your health, or in your financial ability to survive at this point. The American dream's gone. You can't buy a house. Between the soaring interest rates and the corporations coming in and buying up all the real estate, you're not going to own a home. And if you're, unless you've already got your foot in the door, but your payments are going to go up. So there's that. But if you did it right and paid cash, you're all right. You're actually smiling right now. You're like, oh, look at all this. I can get 3 times what I paid for my shit. If you want to be homeless. But I've been whining about the shadow banning and the censorship for years, and even this video is probably going to, not that it matters to me at this point, is going to probably put me on the YouTube Ministry of Truth's fucking radar. Speaking of Ministry of Truth, the reason why, Musk buying Twitter is not a victory yet, and won't be, probably, is because of the response it is prompting from the Democratic Party. Joe Biden has just created the Ministry of Truth. I mean, he's calling it something else, like the misinformation, that word that they use for anything that doesn't support the agenda or they don't agree with. They put that label on it, as do all the NPCs that follow them. But we're now going to have people with law enforcement credentials policing your speech, determining if you're a threat. And they'll put you in fucking jail. Don't think they won't. It's coming. So I'm fucked, probably, especially if they go back. And I'm probably on a list at this point, but I don't give a shit. I don't have much. I don't have a lot to lose. Let's just put it that way. But that being said, I'm not going to shut the fuck up. No matter how far they're willing to take this. And I hope none of you shut the fuck up. Don't shut the fuck up. Keep speaking your mind. Keep sharing the truth. Being a relative word, of course. But I'm tired of this censorship. I'm tired of the bullshit from the Democratic Party. I'm not giving Republicans a pass. They've done some shady shit, and they're doing a lot of shady shit still, particularly the establishment Republicans. But the Democrats are way overstepping. And, well, you might not be a Biden supporter, but you might be a Democrat. My response to you is this. Not calling out this behavior and this attack on our freedom that is going on right now in front of your face, not condemning it, is complicity. Therefore, you're just as bad as Biden, in my book. If you're unwilling to criticize your own party when they are doing wrong, I got no fucking compunctions of telling you that I think you're a piece of shit. Because that is corrupt. You want power. You want control. And you're buying into the mainstream corporate narrative. And you're allowing them to manipulate and control you. So much so that when that control is being threatened, as Elon Musk is threatening it right now, that you're willing to go to absurd lengths to smear the motherfucker, who you were praising not too long ago because he's kept an electric car. The hypocrisy is mind-blowing at this point. And as a libertarian, I'm just like, where's our leadership? Who is leading the charge? Is Elon the next president? The next billionaire president? The next populist that's going to get into office? Democrats seem to worry about that, being that they are accusing him of doing what they've been doing for fucking years. And I'm really alarmed at this disinformation branch of Homeland Security, which probably just put me on all kinds of fucking lists just by saying that on the internet. Some algorithm right now is emailing some fucking motherfucking far left activist that's in the White House going, look at this motherfucker over here, get him! I'm not advocating for violence. I'm not doing any of that. I'm just saying, look at this. This is bullshit, and it's fucked up, and it's going to turn out bad. Censorship, it never works. It never works. Look at North Korea. You think censorship's working there? You think they don't know what's up? They know. The difference is they have to have a motherfucker smuggle information around. It's a lot easier to do that here in the United States, wouldn't you say? there's corners of the web they don't have control over. So continue to peruse all sides of the story. But when you're threatening the mainstream, the reason why Twitter's such a big battleground right now is because Twitter has the ear of the NPCs, the people that only believe what they see on TV and believe what they read in social media, especially when it aligns with their political beliefs, and will condemn anything that's not of that ilk as misinformation and disinformation. You know, I'll be amazed if this video isn't shadow banned and it only gets 200 views, but like I said, YouTube's not my bread and butter anymore, so I can get away with a little bit more. You know, and if this channel were to disappear, or me at this point, you know why. So there's that. Am I being insane? Am I like overreacting? No. In today's world, are you serious? Can you ask that question? I just can't believe that we're allowing this to continue. If you vote for these motherfuckers in November, you know, granted, Republicans are just as shady, but they're not doing this. So you have to pick the lesser of two evils. I wish you had more choices. I really do. I wish there was a libertarian candidate. I wish there were people that were for the people and not the corporations. But that's just not reality. That's just not how it goes. The people in power are there for the corporations, not for you. And as we've seen with Trump, and we are now seeing with Elon Musk, anybody that steps outside what the corporations want, which is full control to manipulate you, and you not to question it, as demonstrated by Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, all of them, you know, PayPal, you know, Patreon, all of these, you know, high-tech Silicon Valley motherfuckers, they're doing everything they can to take away your right to speak your mind, whether you are speaking the truth or giving your opinion. It's all misinformation to them if you aren't towing the corporate fucking narrative. And the corporate fucking narrative is pretty fucking insane, wouldn't you say? It's divisive. You know, it's othering people. It's keeping us divided and conquering us at the same time. Taking away all your wealth through the invisible tax of inflation. Taking away your ability to move up the ladder. The further up the ladder, the more they want to knock you off the ladder. And they're doing it. You know. I can remember when the American dream was alive and well for everyone. If you were a working class individual and you did the right things financially, you could go out and get a 30-year mortgage on a $130,000, $140,000, maybe $150,000 house and have the American dream. That is shrinking, and in some places it's gone completely. Now, if you want that same house, you're probably going to pay $300,000 or $400,000 at currently 5% interest over the 30-year period, and that's if you're lucky to get a fixed interest rate, which means you're going to slave yourself for the rest of your life and probably the rest of the lives of your children if you are lucky enough to have any and you leave them your property, because it isn't yours. It belongs to the bank till you make that last payment. And then even after that, it belongs to the government if you're late on your taxes. Kind of think of it, you'll own nothing and you'll be fucking happy about it. Maybe. You're going to spend a lot of time in your house, though. Because even some of the, six-figure motherfuckers are going to be house poor at current housing prices. So, let's recap everything they've done for the past couple of years since they've had complete control of the country. Let's just run through it all. As we found out recently, they lied about all kinds of shit during COVID. I'm not going to get into specifics because I still don't know what's bannable, even though the truth has come out, about certain things, about things that you put in your arm, But I've been avoiding that topic. I'm just like, okay. Everyone that knows me knows what I feel about this. They know my opinion on it. I'll leave it up to them to decide if I was right or wrong during that time period. If you don't know what my opinion was and you're watching this, feel free to go back and watch the old videos. Some of them were dead on. You know, some of them are maybe a little overreacting. But, for the most part, I was right. That being said, during that process, they seized an unprecedented amount of power. They told you couldn't do shit unless you did what they wanted you to do. And if you said anything otherwise, you were labeled with that misinformation, disinformation label and ejected from society. And at one point, I myself was ejected from society. I could not go to the places I wanted to go, including a place that I'd been at for years, unless I did what they told me to do. How'd that turn out? Yeah, overnight they forgot about it. That's great. But that being said, I haven't forgotten about it, and I will never forget it. Never. Because that is the time when we could have said no, and nobody did. And here we are with the Ministry of Truth, with full control of most social media platforms, and all of mainstream media, manipulating you, and taking away your freedom, and now your whole existence is in jeopardy. I mean, in terms of when you look at the World War III situation, which could or could not kick off any day now. You know, some would argue it's already started. I know that that's the position a certain country has taken. Some are in denial, normalcy bias and all of that. But make no mistake, a really bad war is currently going on, and we're just sitting there fucking pouring gasoline on it. So there's that. We're going to be raising interest rates, which means the stock market's going to tank, which means credit's going to be harder to get and to afford, so less people will be spending money. It's a good thing, I think. Less credit is always good, but in order to do that, we would have to crash the economy because we're a debt-driven economy. And at the same time, there seems to be no end to inflation in sight. It just keeps going higher and higher. Fuel prices are going to go higher as more and more of Europe is cutting off themselves from Russian oil. Well, guess what that does? That increases demand from all the other oil providers. And at the same time, you got the Democrats who are unwilling to lift their taxes off of these gas prices. Oh, no, it's the oil company's fault. It's the oil company's fault. We're not going to let them drill anymore. We just further reduced. During this current period, they further reduced the amount of federal lands in Alaska that they could drill on. Not to mention the bureaucracy and fines and all the horse shit that they're ready to continue to dissuade oil companies from producing oil domestically. And they're taking that money and sending it to countries who hate us, who don't give a shit about the environment at all, by the way. At least we give a little bit of a shit, like we have environmental regulations. But we don't care about the rest of the world, just ours. Just our shit. So there's another wonderful Democrat policy for you. And it's been since day one. The southern border. Do we have one? No. We don't have a southern border. Anybody who wants to come here can now come here, it seems. Just walk right in. Hey, how you doing? Oh, you're going to give me a tent to stay in for a little while? Okay. Oh, then you're going to put me on a bus and ship me somewhere? And okay. I'm all right. No problem. Doesn't matter their background, whether a criminal, terrorist, none of that. Should be some kind of vetting process, I would think, to get into a country. At least every other country seems to have that policy except us. For the most part, I think there's a few countries in Europe that have done the same thing. So our crime is skyrocketing, you know. Oh, there's another thing the Democrats have been doing. Being soft on criminals and letting hardened criminals, repeat offenders, back out onto the street to commit more crimes. So much so that some of these cities are just not safe to be in anymore. At all. I wouldn't want to be in New York City. I wouldn't want to be in LA. I wouldn't want to be in any blue-run city at this point. Chicago. None of them. Because their murder rates are off the chart. Their crime rates are off the charts. Even in my city, Syracuse, New York, crime is up. People are getting shot left and right. Sometimes in my neighborhood, right down the street from me. You know, it's all, there's one common theme for all of this. It's the Democrat Party. If you can't see them for what they are at this point and what they're doing, then you deserve what's going to come. And what's going to come? You know, some would look at that as some kind of veiled... I'm not saying that. I'm saying this is going to continue to get worse. You're going to have less freedom. You're going to own nothing. You're not going to be able to afford to live on your own. You're going to have to require assistance from them, the government. And they'll probably give you a little bit here and there. But it ain't going to be nowhere near what you could have gotten on your own, for sure. We're going to be drawn into a conflict with another country, it seems. One that can destroy us, if they choose. Well, we can destroy them too, but at the end of the day, we're all done. You know, just a question of who destroyed somebody else more at that point. You know. And it all starts with censorship, by the way. Because the election is won or lost based on what people are saying, what facts come out. We can point to certain facts that had come out during the previous election that were conveniently labeled as misinformation that are now known and acknowledged by left-wing media to be true, as they have turned on Biden for the most part, realizing that, I mean, the guy can barely talk. It's probably not a good idea to keep backing him. You know, let's kind of blame him and put a new Democrat in the White House. The only way they can do that is if they continue to control the narrative. They continue to control you, your mind, essentially, by only allowing you to consume information that they want to consume. And if you don't believe me, then why have a section of the law enforcement government illegally, against the Constitution, police your speech? Because your speech isn't a threat to the homeland. Your speech is a threat to the Democratic Party. Change my mind. Go on down in the comments. I'm waiting for it. Change my mind. I don't care about Republicans or Democrats at this point, but I am done with Democrats. Y'all have done fucked up too much shit. I'm not happy that I have to go to the Republicans to keep my freedom. I have to go to a Republican-led state that'll at least stand between me and the federal government if I want to maintain my freedom and keep some of my wealth, for that matter. As I watch huge swaths of my income go to the federal government in the state of New York right now, and it doesn't sit well with me. They took a big chunk this check because I made a good paycheck, which means I can't win. It means if the harder I work out here, the more hours I put in, the richer they get, and I stay about where I'm at. And that's the best case scenario. That's because I'm a trucker. They're dying to keep me in this fucking truck. They want me to be happy. And in order to do that, they're paying me at the inflation rate. I am definitely keeping up with inflation with my income. You know who isn't? People on Social Security. People who work for minimum wage. Gig economy workers. They're getting their ass handed to them right now. You know, it's astounding that no one's calling them out on it anymore. Yeah, I mean, there's people calling them out, but no one's listening. If you don't listen in November, then that's it. That's where we're at. If this party stays in power everywhere, make no mistake, the American dream will never come back. Your freedoms that you gave up willingly during the pandemic will be taken away again. And you will own nothing. And you probably aren't going to be very happy. I hate to say I told you so, but I did tell you so. And a lot of people unsubscribed to me during that period where I got super uber political. Don't worry, we're not going back to those days. I just felt, given what's at stake, I needed to say something. I needed to make this video. I felt it was important to talk about this. We need more than Elon Musk defending our freedom of speech. You know, when I initially brought this up and left YouTube for a very long time and went to Odyssey exclusively, 3/4 of you didn't want to follow me because it wasn't convenient. Maybe your internet bandwidth sucked. I don't know. I got all kinds of excuses. You know, and when I came back to YouTube, people were like, "Oh, thank God you're back." And I'm like, well, I was making videos the whole fucking time. What was the problem? It's because people didn't want to inconvenience their comfortable little lives to stand up for freedom of speech. So now we're stuck with this platform. We're stuck with YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok. I decided against going on TikTok, by the way. I considered it, but I'm not gonna. If Elon restores Twitter to its initial glory, which would allow the everyday person to say things and to actually, for people to hear them without manipulating it based on the narrative that that person was either condemning or supporting, regardless of the facts. Freedom of speech means a motherfucker can say something you don't want them to say or you don't like. And the reason you should defend it is because somewhere somebody doesn't like what you have to say. Somebody doesn't like what you stand for. Should that person be allowed to silence you? How would you feel? Put yourself in the person you want censored shoes, because I guarantee you, no matter what side of the political spectrum you're on, at the end of the day, you're probably not on the corporation side. And when you figure that out, who do you think will be silenced next? But what the fuck do I know? I'm not an expert. I'm just an asshole. I'm in Virginia. It's been a rough day. Rough couple days, actually. I met a customer that I was waiting in line 30 minutes past my appointment time, so they refused me yesterday. So I had to sit here overnight. Got paid a little bit of money for it, but not what I'd be making if I was rolling. And then I get here today, you know, because they had to reschedule an appointment. I get here today, and I'm standing in line at the window. After they let me in the gate this time, I'm in line at the window. What time's your appointment? 10 a.m. I look at the clock. It's 9:30 a.m. It would have took me a half hour to get to the door by exactly 10 a.m. Oh, you got to go back out and wait till 10 a.m. So yeah, you're going to waste more time. If you give me a door, I could be in the door so that at 10 a.m. they could start. Well, 10 a.m. came and went. It's been an hour, and my trailer hasn't bounced yet. It's pretty much how our world is, I guess. So, as far as Twitter, I haven't fired it up in a long time, but I'll be taking a look slowly. I'm going to take my time. I don't want to start putting my eggs in the Twitter basket until I'm sure there's some changes being made. But I will be one of the people returning to Twitter. And I'll test just how free is the speech. I'll risk the wrath of the corporate narrative just to do that. But make no mistake, they're not just going to let this go. I guarantee you, if you go on Twitter and speak your mind, that a platform like YouTube might remove you based on what you did on Twitter. There's precedence for it. It's been done. Look at Patreon. They were banning people just for stuff they did on other platforms. It's the new world. You wonder why my content, I don't do as much of this? That's why. I'm tired. I've been doing it for a long time. It's cost me this channel probably for all, as far as it will never grow again. I will try. If Twitter allows me to grow, then by proxy YouTube would grow as well. I would get more people to see and hear what I have to say and what I produce. Some of which is fun, some of which, used to be healthy, but not right now. Probably will be again at some point. I'm looking at that, but I'm not optimistic at all. Especially now that you've got the government intervening with this ministry of truth. That means when I go online, I'm not just risking getting shadow banned or getting a community guideline strike, which, by the way, is still on my YouTube channel. I said something that has now been supported by evidence from the released documents on my channel, and I still have a community guideline strike, which means the next time they will shut me down for a week, take away monetization and super chats and all that other shit till that'll be the next slap to say, hey, look, start towing the line or you're done. I've already got that. It's still on my page. When I log in to check my YouTube channel, that is still there. All I did was read a fucking news article that somebody somewhere didn't like. And the algorithm put me in front of somebody's eyeballs, and that somebody gave me the strike. So, or maybe the algorithm did. I don't know. But either way, it's bullshit. I wasn't doing anything wrong. I was giving my opinion, something I do on here, and I said that repeatedly. What I talk to you, do not take it as gospel. Always do your own homework and come up with your own fucking opinion. I'm just giving you my opinion based on the things I see, both in the real world and in this corrupt world of science and academia and the media that continues to manipulate us. To manipulate us to do the wrong thing that they've been doing since I started this channel. They manipulated us to not eat healthy. They manipulated us to rely on Big Pharma as a recipe for survival. And now they're going after everything. They're taking it all. And the only thing we got going for us is most of them are fucking stupid. I hate to say it, but most of them are dumb. Most of the Democrats in power are not intelligent. I do not see a Democrat, because I would fear an intelligent Democrat. Believe me. If you coupled intelligence with the corruption, they'd be very devious and very destructive to us. But fortunately, they aren't that bright. Because if they were that bright, we wouldn't be talking about this because we wouldn't know about it. Welcome to the new world. The new world order. It's changing. And I think they want it that way. There's no way they've done all of this stupid shit. I mean, maybe they did. Prove me wrong. But there's no way they did all of this stupid shit, accidentally. There's no way. I don't see it. I think they want to bring this country down. I think they want us fighting. They want us broke and relying on the government and relying on the mainstream media, who's been losing its grip for quite a while now, both mentally and actually losing its stranglehold on information. And they're basically grasping to maintain power. Power over your thoughts, power over who you vote for, power over how you spend your money, power over where you go and what you do and what you can't do, power over what you say and what you can't say. Don't give it to them, because you'll never get it back. I told you that before, and I was right. We've set a horrible precedent this last 2 years that we accepted the trashing of our Constitution. We've thrown it aside because we might be a little scared. Well, the people that wrote that shit, they weren't scared. The people that have defended it for hundreds of years, we can't hold a candle to how not scared they were. History's not going to look back on this time in our history in a favorable light, if they're allowed to at all. You know, it's weird. I feel like, having read 1984 now, by read I mean listen to an audiobook, I feel like the Democrats are legit doing everything in that book to a letter. And there are some countries that have done all of it and are continuing to double down on it. And, you know, you look at China and now, you know, Russia and all of these other authoritarian motherfuckers. But China's leading the way. China is already there. It's 1984 in China. Kinda. And we're doing it all. Everything that was in that book, we're doing it. If you haven't read 1984, you might want to brush up a little bit, because that's our future. If we don't stop, and we're running out of opportunity to stop this. And by stop it, I mean speak your mind. Vote with your dollars. Vote with your feet. And, of course, if you have to choose between certain levels of corrupt politicians, choose the less corrupt option. Particularly ones that will maintain your rights and your freedoms. Otherwise, we're fucked. And I don't want to be fucked. Do you want to be fucked? Google doesn't want to be fucked. Nobody wants to be fucked anymore. So, quit fucking us. You know, quit letting them fuck you. Well, that's my thoughts. That's it for this fucking video. I know I ruffled a few feathers. It happens every time I get political on here. But keep in mind, I'm not a Republican. I'm not even a Trump supporter, by the way. He had his time. He had his chance. He fucked it up. We need somebody. Somebody that's not Biden and not a Democrat. If I had to pick, I'd pick DeSantis. You know, I don't like everything DeSantis does, too. He's done some things that have kind of made my hair stand up on my back of my neck, particularly in acting against private companies and stuff. And he might be swinging the pendulum a little too hard in the other direction. Because it's really easy to trade one authoritarian for another. But that being said, the pendulum's got to swing back. We've already swung too far to one side. It needs to go back the other way. You know, and it has been doing that throughout our history, but we're getting to a point where the machine might be broken, you know, and I don't know how to fix it. Other than living my best life, speaking my mind, and generally not giving a fuck anymore. You know? Is what it is. Don't be all doom and gloom. The battle is going on. Pay attention. Speak your mind. Speak your mind in particular to those who don't agree with you. You know, because the more people who do that, the less the go along with the herd types are inclined to go along with the herd, especially if most of the herd starts saying the truth. Starts calling this bullshit out. Starts saying enough is enough already. That will change things. And that's why they want to control your speech, by the way. They're afraid that if you're allowed to go on Twitter and say whatever the fuck you want about whoever the fuck you want, that they will lose power. That the tribalists and the people that support them are afraid of. And you see it. It's almost a cult-like devotion when you look at the reactions of the Twitter employees in particular. And you look at the mainstream media. It's a new religion when you look at their behavior. And it's not a good religion. Have a nice motherfucking day. And shit. Please like and subscribe for more shit. And I'll make more shit. If you like this video and you want to keep, I premiere all of these and I'm in the chat room talking live. That was kind of gross what I just did there. I'm in the chat room talking live. I send out an email through my free email list so that if I am shadow banned, at least those of you who want to hear or see my shit get an email telling you, hey, I'm going to be doing this at this time, or hey, I just posted a video over there, or hey. And who knows, if I go back to Twitter, that email will be the first one I send out to let you know, send you a link and whatnot. Eventually I'll get around to telling you here on YouTube, assuming this video didn't get me fucked up. But please, sign up for that free email list. The reason I started that email list was to combat the fact that even people who were subscribed to me weren't seeing me pop up in their feeds. And I always get that one person that's like, you pop up in my shit all the time. But there's other people that are like, I haven't seen your shit in years. And I know it because there's people I follow that I haven't seen in years. I'll start thinking of them like, oh, I haven't seen a video from them in a while. And lo and behold, they've been posting fucking weekly. It's great. Good job, Susan. Really looking out for you. Oh, and by the way, I in the beginning where I did the reason I did that is I'll be going down the road listening to random podcasts. Lately, a lot of Jordan Peterson been popping up in my shit, so I just let it play, autoplay sometimes. But every once in a while, that thing turns on. And I make it a point every time it turns on to say something offensive. I'm like, fuck you, Google. I do all that shit. Because it's listening. It's listening and it's writing shit down. Somewhere there is a transcript of every word that's been said in this truck. It's just alarming when I'm listening to some controversial fucking podcasts. And, yeah, I'm probably in the algorithm as one of those people that we keep an eye on. The government now has a branch to do just that. Am I being paranoid? Could be. We'll see. At the end, we're going to find out. And, fuck Joe Biden. Yeah. I saw a sign the other day going on a rural highway that says, even my cat hates Joe Biden. I think more people are fed up with this than were before. I think change is in the air, but it's not going to happen overnight. And it's going to be a ridiculous battle for your freedom.